We are exactly 2 weeks away from the West Virginia Mountaineers being led on the field by Rich Rodriguez, Bernie. We're going to discuss the season predictions and go game by game and make our predictions up next on Vom Live. Let's go.
I'm following like Voice of Morgantown and like
sure.
What's up, West Virginia fans? My name is Brad Smith, and you are tuned in right now to the #1 rated West Virginia sports show on planet Earth. Bernie, how you doing, buddy?
Good, brother. Chilling down here at the beach, and I'm ready for the Mountain Mama football season to begin.
Yeah, man. So I can't believe it. We're 2 weeks away from the Mountaineers taking the field. We've got Robert Morris, of course, is our opening game. You know, something that bothers me, Bernie, is that all the experts, that's in quotes, the national experts are saying that we're going to finish somewhere in that 10 to 16 range in the Big 12 conference. The local media guys, of course, they always give their predictions of 6-6 or 7-5 or something like that, so they don't rock the boat. But honestly, I think we're going to have a much better season than that. Bernie, let's start with Robert Morris, of course. We have an inferior opponent coming into Morgantown for the first game. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. I think it's Rich Rod's going to be pissed off most of the day on the sidelines. But I think we're going to end up blowing them out. I have us winning 55-10 in the season opener. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, man. I would totally agree with somewhere around there from a scoreboard perspective. But, you know how these games go, right? Like anytime you're playing somebody you know you're going to beat, they're not going to put their best effort out there. There's going to be a ton of rotations, I think, to see how guys react in real-time game situations. I'm not putting much on this. 55-10, I think, is reasonable. 42-7, like somewhere in there. It's going to be a tune-up game, right? Like they're going to just see who plugs in, who does well, see where some of those depth chart comparisons land, and go from there.
Yeah, for sure. The week 2 is the game that I think you and I have been talking about for months now, and I've heard other people start talking about it as well, is traveling to Ohio. Ohio, of course, won the MAC last year. They finished 11-3. They did lose a lot of players, though, buddy, and they also, they have a new coach. So it's not the same Ohio team last year, but this definitely does feel like a trap game. With Pitt coming into Morgantown the following week, I still think we're going to be we're going to end up pulling it out. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, though. I have us winning 34-24 to move to 2-0. What do you got, buddy?
So I think if it would have been the same Ohio team that won the MAC last year with the same coaching staff and everybody else, I'd be a little more concerned. I know you've brought this up numerous times. I get it, right? Like it's in between the big game and everybody's like kind of overlooking it. But I just think the cultural shift and the player and talent development that Rich Rod and his staff has brought to this program is not going to be understated by a team like Ohio. So, you know what? If it was the Ohio team from last year, I'd be a little more concerned. I think we're going to go in there. Rich Rod's a smart guy. He's going to make sure that they're focused, they're ready to go. And I think we're going to be good to pound them to the sand. So I'm going to go like 42-10, 42-20. I don't think it's going to be as close as everybody thinks it's going to be. Again, if it was the team from last year, I'd be a little more concerned, but it's not that team. It's not the same coaching staff. And when we have turnover like that, especially at a mid-level school like Ohio, you're just not going to have the same results.
Yeah, I also saw, Bernie, that we have West Virginia fans have bought approximately 15 to 16,000 of the tickets
Yeah, I saw
for
that.
this game, and the stadium holds 25,000, so it's going to be most of the stadium's going to be filled with Mountaineer fans. So we may have a home game on the road.
Right. Well, and again, right, I think everybody that looks at this and looks at what's coming up in game 3 would say, okay, the coaching staff and everybody is identifying the fact this could be a letdown if we don't keep our guard up. But I don't see Rich Rod doing that. I mean, we've seen the fire, we've seen his passion, how he coaches. He's not afraid to call people out, which I love. And I just don't see us like taking a step back against Ohio. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
again, if it was the same coaching staff, it was the same team that won the MAC last year, I'd be a little more concerned, but it's not. You know, you've got a lot of turnover. We've got a lot more talent. We've got a lot of depth. We're continuing to add to that. Feel pretty good about that game. I'm not as worried as I would be if it was the same team as last year.
Absolutely. Blake Bennett over on X said, I don't think 6-6 or 7-5 from the local media is a bad look. We've had 3 or 4 winning seasons with 9 wins in the last 14 years. Blake, this is not Neil Brown football anymore, though, buddy. You got to get out of that mindset. I think a lot of us are still in that mindset. This is Rich Rodriguez. This is not Neil Brown. And I can't believe so many people are picking us to go 6-6 or 7-5. I think a lot of people, our local guys, they see someone like a Phil Steele. Are you familiar with Phil Steele, Bernie?
Yep.
I bet he couldn't name 3 players on the Mountaineer roster, to be honest. I really don't. I think that these national guys, they just kind of throw stuff at the wall and hope it sticks. I don't think that these guys know what they're talking about. I believe we're going to win a lot more games and be a lot better than we've been during the Neil Brown era.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, if you pull up my X feed and I put it out there today, somebody picked us as like the second to last team in the Big 12. It just makes no sense to me. It's people that don't understand the program. They have no local knowledge. We are not going to be that team. I feel very good about where we are as a program. I think it's only going to get better with Richard under the helm. But if you look at the accountability factor, development factor, Richard was always famous for being a guy that could develop a diamond out of the rough. And I think he's going to continue to do that. These national pundits have no clue what our program's about. They're just basically putting a number out there to put a number out there. Yeah. So I'm not really concerned about any of that stuff. I get more concerned if I hear anything locally, but I haven't. And I think, Richard's been very transparent to his credit. Like, hey, we're not where I want us to be, but we're getting there. And then the last few press conferences, if you've seen, he feels a little more confident. And you've seen the players like buy into the conditioning, the program. It's just going to be different football. Like, would you ever see Neil Brown chew somebody's ass out like you saw Richard chew somebody's ass out last week?
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't see that, right? So it's a different level of accountability. And I think Richard is just very transparent. In fact, like, hey, if you don't show up, you don't do what we need you to do, and you're not going to play. And that's how it should be. That's accountability. So I'm all the national pundits, everything else, I don't really care. I feel very good about our chances of going 7 wins. For me would be the minimum. 10 would be the high, and then who knows what else.
I think a lot of these national guys are basing their record and their projections based on the uncertainty of this team. There's a lot of turnover this year, and they're thinking, well, I don't know a lot about this team, so they're 15 or they're 16 in the Big 12. And I just don't think that they're really looking at the full picture here. I also feel like a lot of the national guys view Rich Rodriguez as kind of a retread hire for the Mountaineers. And I don't see him that way at all. I think he's an innovator. I think he's evolved and gotten better over time. And so, again, I think that these national guys I just think they're wrong.
Well, I mean, look, if you look at national football rankings and all the things they've done over the years, and these people that claim to be experts, they're wrong 80% of the time, right?
Yeah.
Other than the layups, it doesn't really matter. So, with all due respect to those guys, I'd rather be under the radar. I've said this. I think Nico's going to be under the radar. I think Jakeem White's obviously a standout. He's going to be a focal point. But Rodney Gallagher, all these people have not had a chance to really develop in the Neil Brown era because of his poor coaching, are going to be the guys that emerge this year and really shock some people. I mean, Rodney Gallagher was one of the most highly touted recruits we've had in our program in a long time. And nobody has seen what he's capable of because Neil Brown has bottled them up. So when you look at a guy like Richard that comes in and has had experience with his position and the ability to kind of free him up in one-on-one coverage, man, I really think like Gallagher, Nico, our tight ends, our fullback, like there's just going to be a different feel to this team this year. And there's going to be a lot of contributors that people aren't expecting and they're not being hyped about, which is fine. We want to be under the radar, but these guys are going to contribute in a big way and they're going to really pop and have some big games. I could very easily see Rodney Gallagher having like 6, 7, 8, 100+ yard games this year.
Yep. Patrick Weigel over on YouTube said, I still have a hard time believing with 70 new players that we will get more, be more than 6 and 6 or 7 and 5. I would agree with you, Patrick, if this was Neil Brown picking these 70 new players. Again, I think West Virginia fans have got into this whole mindset that, these new players aren't going to turn out to be good because over the last 6 years, they haven't been good when Neil Brown goes out and finds new players. However, Rich Rodriguez, like Bernie said earlier, goes out and finds the diamonds in the rough. He picks tough guys who succeed and who want to win, and so it's just very different.
Well, and Pat, this is what I would say to you, right? As an athlete, as a guy that's coached, I could tell you this. When you go and you get into a new system, it's not as impactful as the athleticism and who you are as a player. And, the X's and O's are always pretty similar, whether you're running a spread, you're running a high tempo offense, whatever it is, doesn't matter, right? Like the goal is to get your skill players in space. So I understand your concern, but with a guy like Zach Alley, who has a proven defensive record, defense is not the hardest part of the game to pick up. It's just not. I mean, I played both sides of the ball in my time. Offense is always more difficult because when you have offensive schemes that are especially more nuanced, it gets a little more complicated. But again, you are not reinventing the wheel with what we have here. And I think a lot of what we've seen and what we're going to see with Richard, it's not going to be something that's like revolutionary. It's going to be a lot of X's and O's, blocking, tackling, and just making sure we're freeing up our skill players in space. So I understand your point, your concern, but at the end of the day, these guys have played ball for a long time. They've all had different systems. So when the systems change, they're used to kind of evolving to the system and being successful in that system because they have to be. So it's a valid point, but I think in today's day and age, it's not as valid as it would have been 10 years ago. Agreed.
If you're over on YouTube right now, guys, please hit a like and give us a follow if you haven't already. Guys, next week on this very show, we will be giving away season tickets to see the Mountaineers to one of our lucky followers. We'll be here next Saturday, August 23rd at 8 p.m. And we will give away, we're going to do a drawing. We'll give away season tickets to 5 games. That's Robert Morris, Utah, TCU, Colorado, and Texas Tech to see the Mountaineers. So be here next Saturday at 8 p.m. For an opportunity to win those tickets. Bernie, let's talk about the big one next, buddy. We agreed that the Mountaineers will be 2-0 going into the Pitt game, the backyard brawl in week 3. A lot of people, again, a lot of national guys are saying that Pitt is going to be a lot better. This is a Pitt team that lost how many games in a row at the end of the year? 6 or 7 games at the end of the year. So I hope they're better than that. But this is I don't believe it's a great Pitt team. I think that we're going to absolutely pound Pitt. I don't see any chance of them leaving Morgantown with a win. I have us winning 45-17 to move to 3-0.
Okay. I'm going to say some things that a lot of the people may not like, but I'm going to put it out there. Pitt, hold on. I got to try not to throw up in my mouth. Pitt has been a better program for the better part of 10 years. Oh, God. I think it's lit on fire behind me, but it's factual, right? When you look at Biletnikoff winners, they have a Heisman winner. It's frustrating, but it is what it is, right? And Narduzzi outcoached Neil Brown twice in games that Neil Brown should have won. And when you look at Pitt as a program, we unfortunately can never underestimate the impact of the games, right? Like I remember the game that we lost, in 2007, and I can't remember his star receiver, but there was a guy that was a star receiver. We lost that game in 2007, and then he jumped and joined Pitt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of where we are geographically and the game in general, it doesn't matter about like who's more talented. It's a rivalry. We should have won that game in 2007 easily with two hands tied behind our back. So I never sleep on the rivalries, and Pitt, unfortunately, has had a better program in the last few years. So as much as I hate giving credit to them, I'm not sleeping on this game. I think the nuances of the game, Rich Rodriguez is going to be very emotional about it. Maybe that clouds his judgment a little bit. There's going to be players, I'm sure, that are aware of the 13-9 or playing on September 13th. There's a lot of these weird things that are going on in that game. I absolutely agree with you, Brad. I think we should wax them. Whether or not we do, I don't know. We should have waxed them every series we played in the last 4 years, but Neil Brown made sure it didn't happen. So, look, I would probably say I'd feel very comfortable sneaking out of this game with like a 31-20 margin. But you never know in these massive rivalry games. Never know where they go.
Yeah. So do you have the Mountaineers at 3-0, or do you have them at 2-1, buddy?
I have them at 3-0 at that point.
Yep. 3-0. Okay. Yep. Next, the following week to me is where it gets really interesting. Playing at Kansas. Kansas has completely renovated their stadium. It's now a tough atmosphere to play in. I think the fans are going to be there. Mountaineers will be 3-0, we believe. They have Jalen Daniels back, who is an outstanding quarterback. I think this is like his 12th year playing for the Jayhawks. And so I think it's going to be a tough game. I think this might be, if we win, I think it would be our biggest win of the year, honestly. I have us winning 24-20. I don't know, man. I have us going to 4-0 in Kansas. What do you think?
I have us as a loss on this one.
Okay.
Only because I think if we beat Pitt, it's going to be such an emotional drain. And the team might lose a little bit of focus on this game. It's hard. Going there, like you said, I mean, they have a very good team. They have a very good coach in Beatty. I hate to say it, but yeah, I'm going to go like 30-20 Kansas.
Okay. Yeah. So following week after that is Utah at home. Again, I think Mountaineers are going to be 4-0 at this point. Utah's going to be an improved team. They struggled a little bit last year, but I think in their second year in the Big 12, they're going to be improved. I still think it's a home game, and we're going to, again, eke this one out. I have us winning 21-17 to move to 5-0 in the season.
Yep. No, I agree with this one. I think we're going to do 24-17. Take the win versus Utah at home.
Sweet. So the following week after that is I believe that this is where the Mountaineers are going to enter the top 25. I think at 4-0 we will be into the top 25, or we'll be 5. We'll actually be 5-0 at that point, and we will be in the top 25 for the first time since 2018. This to me is the hardest game of the season, though. Playing at BYU, BYU is going to be a very, very good team again this year. I have us losing 34-17 to move to 5-1 on the season.
I would agree. I think it's a tough away game, and we take the loss. I had us at 24-17.
Okay. All right. So you're now at 4-2. Is that correct? And I'm at 5-1.
Correct. Yeah.
Following week after that is UCF. UCF's got Scott Frost back as their head coach. But they lost that sensational running back RJ Harvey. I still think that this is an extremely tough game to win. I do have us beating UCF on the road 28-21 to move to 6-1.
Yeah, I've got us going win on this one. I actually have us at 30-14. I think we're going to win this one.
Okay. So 6-1, 5-2. You have them at 5-2. TCU the following week at back at home. I think TCU is going to be improved. I think this is going to be an extremely close game. I have us winning 24-23 at home and a nail biter to move to 7-1.
Yep, I've got some win on this one as well. I think it's going to be 24-10. I feel a little more comfortable at home, so I'm going with it.
Okay, I'm at 7-1. You're at 5-2. At Houston the following week. This is on November 1st. Again, Willie Fritz is a good coach. I think they're going to be a solid team this year. I do have us outmanning them and winning 42-27 to move to 8-1.
Yep, I've got this one 35-10. We win. I think our defense is going to show up this year. It's going to be different. Take the win.
Sweet. Big, huge game the following week back at home. Deion Primetime Sanders coming to Morgantown with Colorado.
In his bathroom and his porta potty.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that they're going to be a tough team this year as well. I think a lot of people are underestimating what they're going to do. I have us winning, though, because it's a home game, 31-17, 9-1 on the season, man.
Yep. No, I've got us as a win on this one, too. I think they've lost too much talent from last year. I think 24-10 at home. Good. So, yep.
Yep. Next game after that, other than the BYU game, I think this is going to be our toughest game on the road. It's at Arizona State. Arizona State is going to be fantastic again this year. I have us actually losing this game 26-14 to put us at 9-2 on the year.
Yep. No, I've got this one as a loss as well. I've got 35-14 loss.
Okay. Are you at 8-3? I'm at 9-2, I believe.
Yep.
Okay. And then Texas Tech at home. Texas Tech again, man. They're going to be a tough team. There's really no easy games on the schedule, and so I have us in the Big 12 conference schedule. There are some easy games at the beginning, but not in the Big 12. I do have us winning 38-29 to finish the season 10-2.
I've got us 35-21 winning. I think we remove the Neil Brown curse of Texas Tech. And, Richard doesn't really fit into the tree, and I think he's going to just handle it like every other game, and Zach Alley is going to be the difference. So 35-21, we win.
So I have us going 10-2, 7-2 in the Big 12 conference. That would probably be good enough to make it into the Big 12 championship with a shot to play in the college football playoffs. Bernie, are you ready to make that prediction that we could potentially play in the Big 12 conference championship as well at 9-3?
Yeah, man. Always said it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So we have Bernie. You put up a poll earlier. It was, does West Virginia break the top 25 this year and end one of the largest droughts of not being in the top 25 in school history? We saw earlier in the week, someone put up, I forget which account put this up, it was a national account, saying that West Virginia has the second longest drought in college football of not being in the top 25. It's been 100 AP polls since we've been in the top 25. We were last in the top 25 back in 2018 under Dana Holgerson. And so the question is, Bernie, are we going to be in the top 25 this year? I believe we're going to at 5-0. What do you think, man?
Yep. I totally agree. I think this year is just going to be different. I know a lot of people are questioning Rich Rod, new talent coming in, whatever it is. But I think the biggest thing that's going to be a differentiator this year is Zach Alley. And I've said
Yes.
that numerous times. And, West Virginia fans have been suspect for so many years and susceptible to porous defenses and having a good offense, whether it's Holgerson hiring like Joe DeForest or whatever it was, right?
Mhm.
We actually have one of the top defensive coordinators in the country right now running our program. And you factor that in with Rich Rod and his innovativeness with the offense and what we're able to do. And, it's not going to be the same thing where we get up a touchdown or two and we're worrying, right? Like Zach Alley is not going to allow that to happen. So I feel really good about the projections. I don't think we're losing more than 3-4 games max this year. And I feel really good about where we are as a program. And I think it's only going to get better because we have two very talented guys that are running both sides of the ball. And, this year is going to be fun, man. I'm excited to see it.
Fish over on X. I think this is a fair question, Bernie. He says, "How are you both making predictions for a Big 12 championship when we don't even have a definite starting lineup?" I think what Bernie just said was pretty important. That I think what you really have to consider here is the Rich Rodriguez and Zach Alley factor. These are two outstanding coaches. Rich Rodriguez will be calling the plays for on the offense, and Zach Alley on defense. And to me, I wouldn't choose anyone else to run my offense other than Rich Rodriguez. And I don't know that I would choose anybody over Zach Alley to run the defense, man.
Agreed. And again, right, like we have to think about where this program has been and where it's going and the talent that has flowed in, the recruiting job that Richard has done, and putting people in good positions to win. And I feel very good about the people we have on the team. I mean, when you look at Nico, you look at Jaheim White. Again, it's special. Rodney Gallagher, all these people that we have in skill set positions, very similar to a lot of the successful teams we've had over the years. The back end component with the defense is the biggest part. And now you have one of the best, if not the best, defensive coordinators in the country in Zach Alley. So I'm not saying Zach Alley is going to be here for 5 years. I don't see that. But look, we got him this year. And when you combine that with what we have on the offensive side of the ball, why not? Why not West Virginia? Who saw Arizona State coming last year? Nobody.
I agree, and I think that we have an opportunity to be an Arizona State type of team this year. Shane Atkins over on YouTube said, "I love the optimism, but 8-4 is their ceiling." I strongly disagree. There's some games we can win, but I think 6-6 is a more realistic expectation. Bernie, I strongly disagree that 8-4 is their ceiling.
No, I would say 11-1, 12-2. Like we don't know. There's so many different things that could happen throughout the season if this team clicks and gels. We don't know what their ceiling or potential is, and I'm just at a point where, like, even going through these games that you and I just went through, I can't seriously say that I look at the talent on the other side of the ball and say we're going to lose that game.
Yeah.
Right? Like even the BYU game, never know. If this team starts to gel and like really everything starts to click, who knows?
We're not playing against an Oklahoma or a Texas anymore. These teams, we should be on the level or above pretty much anyone in the Big 12 conference now. Like Bernie just said, there's really nobody that we shouldn't be able to beat at this point, right, man?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the exciting thing, right? Like when we lined up against Texas, it was always, okay, we know we've got 5-star, paid NIL recruits, and Oklahoma, same deal. We don't have that anymore. So it's wide open, and I'm not afraid of any team in this conference right now. We could run the table, putting it out there. But look, I think 8-4, 9-3, great season.
One factor that we haven't mentioned yet, Bernie, that I'm so shocked that we haven't, is the Nico Markio factor as well. That he's just, to me, the ultimate winner at quarterback. And I know that people, again, are sleeping on Nico and saying, well, he can't do this and he can't do that. That was under Neil Brown, guys. You haven't seen the real Nico Markio. This is a winner. This is a quarterback, a complete quarterback who is really the perfect quarterback to run the Rich Rodriguez offense. And I think he's really going to surprise a lot of people this year too, man.
Yep. He's said it numerous times. I mean, he's going to run over people. It's just the whole playbook is going to be open for him when it wasn't under Neil Brown, right? So you think of the RPOs and some of the things that are going to be developed for him. He's a super high IQ QB. If they come crashing down to RPO, he's going to be able to switch out and maybe hit a screen. He's just such a good QB. Nobody's giving him a chance. So I think what Nico is going to do this year is going to really shock some people. He's a big body guy too, and he's going to truck some people, and he's going to be like, all right. Yeah. Moving toward that 1,000-yard rusher like Pat White. And we're going to see it. Yep.
Drumwolf62, who typically leaves really nasty comments on YouTube for us, left a good one this time and says, only people that are blind or were not old enough to watch Rich Rod at WVU do not have a clue about what is happening this season. And then he added, a lot of people seem to be suffering from Neil Brown syndrome. And I couldn't agree more that they just feel like things aren't going to go our way, because we've suffered through it for so long.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the reality is that expectations get lowered when you fail consistently, and then you just, expect to lose. Unfortunately, we had several years of that with Neil Brown, specifically on the 2 Pitt games. The reality is we should have won both those games. We shouldn't have lost at all to Pitt, and we did because of Neil Brown. So
yeah. I appreciate Drumwolf62 for chiming in, man. You had some good comments, and thank you so much for keeping it nice and PG today. Patrick over on YouTube said, after Neil Brown, I guess I'm in the believe it when I see it crowd, and I think a lot of West Virginia fans are in the same camp as Pat there, bud. That it's like, well, if we start winning, then I'll jump on the bandwagon. But right now, I'm just not. I can't get super optimistic about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't. It goes back to like what the culture was to what it is, right? Like I remember watching Pat White, Steve Slayton, and even before that, Mark Bolger and Anthony Becht, and you just had these great players and great coaches, and it's just been such a lull because of Brown. Nobody's excited about the program. So we have to reinvigorate that excitement. I think a lot of the players that we have that are going to step up this year are going to do that because there's some studs, Jamori Robinson on the defensive side, and then you got Nico on the offensive side. Jaheim White, I think, is going to have a special season if he stays healthy. Everybody's just got to kind of wait for it to be exciting again. And we're just not there yet, which is unfortunate because anybody that's alumni that remembers what it used to be, we remember how excited we were with football. And it's just haven't been that for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. We've got Iowa State and Kansas State playing next week in week 0. I'm super excited for that game to open up the Big 12 conference. And then the following week, I mean, I still can't get over the fact that Neil Brown, that Rich Rodriguez will be the head coach of the Mountaineers again, something that I've been dreaming about for, I think, 15 years now, man. So I couldn't be any more excited or optimistic about this season. And I think we have every reason in the world from the reasons we've mentioned today on the show, to be really, really optimistic about them having an incredible season and making a big run this year.
Yeah, and again, right? Like, even if they don't have a fantastic year, let's just have a good year. And I think everybody would be okay with that, right? Like, I don't want that. Everybody wants the best. But at the same time, coming from mediocrity with Neil Brown, as long as we're trending in the right direction and we do things that we expect as Mountaineers, I'm okay with that.
Yep. Next week, guys, Saturday at 8 p.m., Bernie and I will be here giving away season tickets to see the Mountaineers, 8 p.m. Make sure you're here. Turn on those post notifications so that you see the show come on live. We will be giving away season tickets to see the Mountaineers, 8 p.m. next week. Bernie, anything else you got before we bounce, buddy?
Not at all. I mean, we've got lots of stuff going on right now. It's women and men's soccer and lots of other things. So make sure that everybody's supporting, West Virginia sports in general.
Yep. Awesome, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. Let's go Mountaineers. 2 weeks away, guys. Can't wait. Let's go.
I'm following like voice of Morgantown and like
Sure.